Crucifix warped into my asteroid field one time. I was mining, the guy shows up, of course I run away because I don't know who he is. So the guy just warps into the asteroid field in a I think it was a cruiser. It might have been a a Brutix. What's a Brutix? Hold on. Let me go to my ship tree and look this up. Galante. So the guy warped in a Brutix. Vexor Thorax. Brutix is a battle cruiser. High security system. Goes to a mining place in a battle cruiser. I don't know what he's doing in the battle cruiser. So I warp away because it's highly suspicious. And then I like drop my cargo and then I warp back at a distance and he's still there. And then I ran away. so that guy is highly suspicious. Don't know what he was doing. Alright, so we're gonna fit to active ship. And then we're gonna fit to active ship. And then we're gonna stack those, and then we're gonna load. We can't load. And then we're gonna load. Nope. Why can't you just load from there? Alright, I'm gonna load those. Alright, so we got a few more things for our ship. Let me just move that to there. Well, maybe you're just gonna put them there. I don't know. Ah, wrong button. No, we don't wanna log off. Alright, so the next place we're going. Let's see, what's the closest? 2 jumps. Elra. Alright, so our stuff is all over the place. We're gonna have to fly around quite a bit to get everything. Crucifix. What? Why would you be in
warp drive active.
An asteroid field with a battle cruiser? That's a industrial. That's a mining industrial. Look at that ship there. I'm actually being overcautious, right? Like warping away when we're high security, warping away when the battle cruiser shows up. It's a little bit strange. But you just never know. You just never know if the guy's there to gank you or not. You never know. I don't think he was ganking in a battle cruiser in high sec. That seems a bit strange. But you never know. And that's the thing about this game, right? And I guess in terms of a social experiment, it's quite interesting because I'm usually a nice guy. But when you're in an environment that doesn't penalize people for being a douchebag, you start to treat everyone like they're douchebag. Like you don't trust people. Like, you know, I fly into Nausec and I get blown up for no reason. Because it's like, because that's what, like when you're in that environment and everyone else does that to you, you get used to it, and then you forget that this is actually not polite. I mean, if you like go to Nausec and you talk to people there and you say, well, you do understand you're not being polite, they would think that you're like weird. They would think that you're being stupid. Like the fact that you would ask them why are they impolite? Because the environment in this game is everybody kills each other for no reason, or like they just get blown up because they think it's funny. But you know, like when the whole world around you is like that,
Docking request accepted.
then you don't really have. I mean, you have a choice. You have a choice. But what I'm trying to say is, it becomes very easy for people to join that, right? It becomes very easy for people to take part in this culture of everyone killing each other for no reason, because that's just how things are in the game. And one of the things that people say in the game is that, like, if you get blown up, it's always your fault. Which, you know, in a reasonable civilized society, that's not true. Like, if somebody breaks into your house and steals your television, it's not your fault. That guy's a thief, right? You know what I mean? That guy is wrong. You're not wrong for having a house or having a television. The other guy's wrong. But you know, when you're in a lawless environment, which is what this game is, and which is what Syria is, like for example, like if you're in Syria and you get shot, it's not your fault as such, but that no one's gonna do anything about it except you. It's what like what they mean is that the only person who can do anything about that is you. No one else is gonna come and help you, right? You're not gonna expect anyone else to come help you, and so the only person who can stop someone from stealing a television is you. But then that morphs, and people get used to that, and then they conflate that with it being your fault. So one of the common things that people say in Eve is that don't blame anyone else for you losing your ship. If somebody blows you up, that's your fault. But that's not what they really mean. What they really mean is that this place is like this. Like there are douchebags in the game, and the only way to stop yourself from being blown up by douchebags is you being careful. Like no one else is going to come help you. That's what they mean. But you see how that shifts. That it shifts into victim blaming. It shifts into that somehow being your fault for not being a douchebag yourself. So like you see how these cultural norms shift. I guess maybe you don't see because I'm talking about it and you haven't seen it in the game. Maybe if you see it in the game, then it makes more sense to you. But I can't show you this in the game because we have to like actually talk to people in the game, and I'm not talking to anyone in this game. I'm playing single player, right? So if I go join one of these corporations and we sit in on some of their conversations, you will start to see what this means, and how like people change, or like how their norms and their expectations change in the game, where they normalize the douchebaggery because they can't change it. Like because you know, I can't change how other people act in this game. Maybe I can talk to them, but you know, it's not practical. So like their norms and expectations change, and they kind of, I mean, in their efforts to figure out how to survive in this douchebag world, they normalize douchebaggery. And so the whole game is just full of douchebags. And even the people who wouldn't otherwise be douchebags, they are also normalizing the douchebaggery. And it's I mean, it's an issue. It's an issue that this game has, and the people who designed the game don't seem to know or care, or they don't have like a. They never talk about it. They never talk about it. I don't think anyone really talks about it because you know, if you want to like talk about it, you're basically having to question your own decisions that you've made, right? Like because anyone who's played this game for several years would have participated in this sort of thing. So then, in questioning that, you first have to question yourself. Okay, I just made the mistake of not setting my destination first. Tasha's only 2 jumps.
Drive active.
It's yeah. And the game has been around for so many years that this culture has become ingrained into the game. Which, I mean, if you look up Volition Cult, which is the people I was briefly with the last time I played, like they used to be in RDS, which is not Red Don't Shoot, and they used to have a Volition Cult Academy, where they would kind of take newbies and kind of teach them and show them how to play the game and how to survive in NoSec. And when I was playing, Volition Cult within themselves were having a debate as to whether or not they could afford to do this. I mean, there were some people who thought it was, you know, that was who they were. They were people who didn't shoot random people, and they were people who helped out new players, and like they were the good guys. They were people who believed that they were good guys. But at the same time, it was costing them, right? Because I mean, not Red Don't Shoot itself means you're vulnerable to people ganking you, because you're not preemptively shooting them. So you're waiting to see if they attack you before you do anything. And so you lose the initiative, right? If someone is coming to gank your guys, you lose the initiative by letting them act first. So already you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. And running Volition Code Academy and putting that right next to high sec makes them doubly vulnerable because, you know, then right next to high sec, people can just come in from high sec, blow up some ships, and then run away to high sec, and like, what are you going to do about it? So they were in a position where they had to pay the cost of helping out newbies and being the good guys. They actually had a cost, and they were debating amongst themselves whether or not they could afford that cost or they want to pay that cost. And they chose to close down Volition Code Academy. VCA like was disbanded as I was there. Like I was there, I watched it happen. And the decision was that they couldn't afford to do it. They couldn't afford to spend time teaching newbies and protect the newbies and protect the territory and be NRDS. Like they couldn't do it. They couldn't pay the cost of doing all of that. Like they couldn't keep their ships from being blown up, and they didn't have the time to patrol the territory. And so now VCA is gone, and Volition Code have moved deeper into Nullsec. Because the further away you are from high sec, the further away from all the shenanigans that the pirates come in from high sec and blow you up. So it's actually like deep Nullsec is actually safer than the areas closer to high sec, which is kind of weird, right? Because high security is safest, and then deep Nullsec is second, and then the boundary area is the most dangerous, which is funny. So they've moved away from these boundary systems further into Nullsec, and other people have taken their place. Other people who are more willing to fight more frequently, I guess. So like the so-called good guys, and they are decent guys. I mean, there were no douchebags in Volition Code that I saw when I was there. But they decided they couldn't afford to do that, and I don't blame them, because it happens. Like you know, I went on a few patrols with them. Because, you know, you're in the academy, you're supposed to learn how to patrol. So you like fly around in a bunch of ships, keep an eye out for bad guys, and then if they come, you're supposed to like tackle them and blow them up. And like in one of the patrols, one of the alliances, or one of the friendly corporations, asked for scouts and escorts for one of their transports. So they were going to transport goods between a few stations. And they asked for like our help to keep an eye out to make sure no one's going to gank them. And so we did that. And we found a bunch of guys, and we chased them through a few systems. We got in the fight, lost a few ships. And then the transport didn't... I don't know what happened to the transports. It didn't work out or something, whatever happened. But they didn't lose anything. But we lost a few ships, and it didn't go very well. It was apparently some sort of miscommunication. But like we found some guys who were going to gank people, and then we got into a little fight with them, and so that happens, and so every time that happens, you're risking your ships, and that happens in Nullsec because there are people who are pirates and there are people who are actual enemies. I mean, different corporations, if they're not friendly to each other, they would try and, you know, fight each other, get territory, and some people do that for fun. Like people PvP for fun as well. Like this is a game, right? Like people play competitive games for fun, and some people play EVE that way. Like they see EVE as a competitive game and they play it to compete with other players, and they try to blow each other up for fun. But it has costs, right? Because every time you blow up a ship, you have to replace it, and that costs credits. And credits means you have to spend time to earn those credits, or you have to spend time mining the materials and then manufacturing the ship. So everything costs time, ultimately. And so while other people are trying to have fun, they're costing you credits and costing you time. And so they just decided they couldn't really afford to do that too much. And so now they're in deep Nullsec, and so they're further away from these shenanigans. And that's this game, like this. And so coming back to like, why do people blow each other up all the time? And why do people say like If you get blown up, you just because you don't really opt out of PvP. Like you can not shoot other people, but you are always vulnerable to someone coming to gank you. Like I'm always vulnerable to someone just showing up and blowing me up. Of course, I'm in high sec, so they have to deal with Concord. But if they're willing to deal with Concord, they can just blow me up. So you don't. There's no way to opt out of PvP in this game. You're always vulnerable to someone coming along and blowing you up. More so in nullsec.
Docking permission requested.
And there's no penalty. There's no real penalty doing that. At most, your ship gets concorded, and you lose your ship. So at most, the penalty is you losing your ship. So you blow up someone else, you lose your own ship to the NPCs, and that's it. And then you can just go back and keep flying. That's the most you get penalized for. And so there's just a lot of pirates in the game because there's no real penalties. Alright, so is that our ship? Have we fitted everything? We have fitted our ship. It's called Basic Explorer, and it is a basic exploration ship where we can get relics, and data sites and relic sites are good. So let's go back to ESA and let's go scan for a bit and try not to get blown up. If we get blown up, then we lost, like, what do we lose? If we get blown up, we lose 5 million credits, which, you know, we have 20, or we had 20. Now we have what do we have? We have 19. So like we can absorb the loss, right? So it's not a big deal. Alright, let's go back to ESA and then let's go scan the stuff in ESA. So let me just show you what quote-unquote exploration is like in the game, and we'll see if we can get some loot out of this. So the probes are what you use to scan things. The missiles is for defense, because some of the relic sites and data sites, I think some of them have NPCs guarding them, so we need a few small missiles. We're gonna stay in high sec for now. Maybe I should do it here. Actually, there's no one here, is there? Why don't I scan this place? Wait, let me just stop. Ship stopping. I'm gonna scan this place. Let me fly to a planet. Walk to within 100. Because there's no one here, and so no one's gonna gank me if no one's here. This is why I'm gonna stay here and scan this place. Although it is 0.6, which means the NPCs that are here are gonna be stronger. So like having an empty system is better because no one knows you're scanning if they're not here to see your probes. So the relatively safe thing to do is to fly to a random planet, and then we just look in a random direction, and then we go full speed that way, and then we just start the micro warp drive, and then we start scanning. Scanners, probe scanner. Oh, there's nothing here. That's why there's no one here. There's just a cosmic signature, really? Alright. So let me launch the probes in a spread formation, and then we scan. We have to remember to recover the probes once we're done as well. What is a cosmic signature? 2.3, that's not very good. Solar system map, what's going on here? So the reason we let me just move this way and then pinpoint, too small. The reason we move and we start micro warping is that we're always moving, and we're moving further away from the known locations, which means that we're harder to find. Not that it matters because we're... Oh wait, why did people turn up? Alright, people just turned up. Let's hope they're not here to gank me. But you never know. What do we find? Cosmic signature. It's right there. This is pretty difficult to scan down. I don't know what this is, but I think that's gonna work. Let me just try that again. It might be a wormhole. If it's a wormhole, we're just gonna we're not gonna explore it. There's also wormhole space. Combat site. Well, we're not going to go to a combat site because we're not in a combat ship. Alright, let me... well, I don't know. I'm just thinking whether I should finish this just to show you what's going on. Oops. So if we like really try to pinpoint this thing. Oops. Well, they're not staying around, and there's no one nearby. Alright, it's a combat site, desolate site. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Hold on, let me just go to Eve Online desolate site. What does that mean? Also, let me just recall my probes.